With the very best of sports in Africa straight from the field onto your screens, we are back with another packed episode of BBC Sport Africa, where in this week's program, our big question is, how has South Africa become a rising force in athletics?
I had to believe, I had to believe that I can also change the world.
We are very, very vibrant. We are very competitive.
Be confident in your strides. Be open to making changes when you get married. Be like Nigeria's Super Eagles defender, Kenneth Omeruo. South Africa's Mlengi Gwala suffered a horrific chainsaw attacking match, but today he's planning his comeback.
I won't sit in the house and lock myself in the doors because of them. So I have to come back and do what I love.
We focus on a distinct sport played competitively by only one country in Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, introducing lacrosse.
Forgotten country!
It's the Daryl and Dominic showdown in the race to become Africa's biggest sport experts who put their money where their mouth is. Find out in this week's BBC Armchair Expert. We couldn't wait to see you again, so a warm and hearty welcome to BBC Sport Africa. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time, you'll love it. This is the show that brings you Africa's biggest names from its biggest games, and I'm the lady responsible to ensuring that you're happy on the show. I'm Janine Anthony in Lagos. Now, for many years, athletics on the continent and even across the globe has been dominated by nations such as Kenya and Ethiopia. But in recent times, a new force has emerged, South Africa. Now, this country boasts Olympic champions in their boots and also top-level athletes such as Caster Semenya and Wade van Niekerk. So in this week's big question, we're asking, how has South Africa become a rising force in athletics?
We want to be the best in the world.
Our agenda is that we must conquer the Olympics.
South Africa is on a mission to dominate the world in athletics, and they seem to be appropriately enough on the right track. In the 2012 Olympics, they won just one athletics medal. 4 years later in Rio, South Africa took home 4 athletics medals, their best performance in over half a century at the Games. It is a similar story in the World Championships. 2017 was the country's best year yet. 6 medals in total, 3 of them gold. So how has South Africa become a rising force in athletics?
We don't only compete in the global stage first, we also compete nationally at home and show each other that we can make it throughout the world.
Long jump world champion Luvo Manyonga is one of the country's stars, but arguably their best is Wade van Niekerk, the reigning 400-meter Olympic and world champion who is widely tipped to replace Usain Bolt as a sports poster boy. Then there's the queen of track, Caster Semenya, who is unbeaten in the 800 meters since 2015. Sprinters Akani Simbine and Anaso Jobodwana, who won Commonwealth golds this year, lead an inspirational support cast.
I think those guys really sparked a fire with South African athletics, and it made us at home who are watching believe that we also can do and achieve as great things.
Where I'm coming from, we only believe in football. But then when I saw the opportunity, when I looked at Maria Motola run, 800 meters, I had to believe, I had to believe that I can also change the world.
In this discussion about South Africa's rise in athletics, I keep asking myself one question. Is this by design from the country's athletics administrators, or is it good old-fashioned luck?
The current crop of athletes have performed in spite of Athletics South Africa, not because of Athletics South Africa. Finding Akani, finding Wade at this time was really lucky for South Africa, and they of course inspired the next generation. And that's largely because of the universities.
University structure, real point. We are very, very vibrant. We are very competitive.
Now, as the country climbs to the top, could they achieve global dominance, given that Athletics South Africa is getting its house in a better order?
We've had change in leadership, I think 3 times in the space over the last, 8 years. That has changed. And if the Federation can maintain its stability and grow, hopefully we'll have a lot more synergy.
Especially since talent is coming through the ranks. At last year's World Under-18 Championships, South Africa took the overall title, meaning athletics is attracting more attention in a country where team sports such as rugby, cricket and football dominate.
If I look back at even just the last 2 years, track and field has really stirred up kind of a great crowd and support crowd all over the country.
The pieces seem to be falling into place for South African athletics at the right time. Improved administration, world-class athletes, and a new generation emerging. With the 2020 Olympics and the next year's World Championships looming, South Africa might just realize its ultimate dream.
We were eager to get and share your thoughts on this story.
Everything's going good, so yeah, it's like just really exciting and amazing, especially for us athletes. They get to go watch them and see them win. It's really good, yeah.
They give me almost like inspiration to see the opportunity for me to make it big on the world stage.
Watching Wade van Niekerk running in the 400 meter and when he broke the record, I was absolutely amazed. I mean, I was over the moon, felt proud in my country.
This is where the geniuses come out to play. It's time for our sports quiz armchair expert, where the loudest and bravest fans across Africa go head to head to be crowned BBC's armchair expert for that week. And it's a hot seat in Nairobi, a competition between Daryl and Dominic, and Celestine Karone is our referee.
Welcome to Armchair Expert. The player with the most points at the end will be crowned the winner. So let's find out who will be doing battle for the throne this week.
My name is Daryl. I'm a Man United fan and I'm here to take the throne.
I'm Dominic, a staunch Gor and Arsenal supporter, and I'm here to win.
Daryl and Dominic, our contestants this week. In the first 2 rounds, we test your knowledge on African football from a national to club level. And on to round 1, here are the rules.
Round 1. It's simple. 30 seconds each to answer as many questions as possible on what's going on in the sporting week.
Daryl?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, let's do this.
You're the first one to start, and your 30 seconds starts now. Who are the reigning Africa Cup of Nations champions?
Morocco.
Cameroon. Who is the all-time top scorer at the Cup of Nations?
Pass.
Samuel Eto'o. How many times has Egypt won the Africa Cup of Nations?
5 times.
7 times.
7.
Hervé Renard has won the Africa Cup of Nations with 2 countries. Which ones are they?
Ivory Coast, Zambia.
Correct. Who did Ivory Coast beat in the final to win the 2015 Africa Cup of Nations?
Pass.
Ghana. Name 2 Ivorian brothers who played during the 2015 final.
Yeah, Toure, Kolo Toure.
Good. That is correct. Just at the death, you have 2 points.
Yes.
Dominic?
Yes.
Do you think you can do any better?
I'll outdo him.
Well, let us see if you can outdo him. Yes. Your time starts now. Where will the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations be held?
Morocco.
Cameroon. Which African team has won the most Africa Cup of Nations?
Egypt.
Correct. How many goals has Samuel Eto'o scored at the Africa Cup of Nations? 16, 17 or 18?
16.
18. Which Nigerian won the Africa Cup of Nations as a player and coach?
Pass.
The late Stephen Keshi. During the 2015 Cup of Nations, 2 brothers played for Ghana in the final. Who are they?
Andre Ayew and Yayu.
I will give you that one because you got the Ayew brothers. Yes. I will give you that. And that means you have 2 points. We have a tie, guys. And there's still so much to play for in the next round coming up in the show.
Get ready to be spellbound by an epic tale of bravery much later on the show. But this Nigerian defender you're about to meet is very much the brave heart of Nigerian football. You might know him as a long-standing face with the Super Eagles, or maybe that guy who's always on loan from the English Premier League club Chelsea to somewhere. But what you didn't know about Kenneth Omero are the juicy bits about what makes him a happy newlywed. Check it out.
My elder brother. I'll be an agent. Azizat Soshola. The late Stephen Keshi. Greenleaf and Designated Survivor. History and French. Chelsea. Run. On a warm summer's eve, on a train back from Norwood, I made up with a gambler, Don Williams. Enugu. I just left the stadium coming out and I saw me and my wife. Before I got married, I used to watch series. But after marriage, I have options. Abuja. Nigeria versus Burkina Faso, final Nations Cup, South Africa. Ijalo. Best dance move.
That's the end of part 1. When we come back, we'll learn that when life throws you lemons, we can always make lemonade, from the emotional tale of the chainsaw attack survivor Mlengi Gwala. This is Sport Africa from the BBC. We're glad to have you join us for the second half of the show. So welcome back to BBC Sport Africa. Now, earlier this year in March, one of South Africa's top triathletes, Mlengi Gwala, was cycling to his training session. Now, it was like a normal morning until he was approached by 3 men he didn't know. What followed after is scarcely believable, as the consequences of that event changed his life forever. I warn you, some of the things you will see and hear might make you uncomfortable.
They pulled the chainsaw, and then I tried to ask what happened, what I did wrong. And then starting to grab my feet and then start to cut my legs. love triathlon so much because triathlon took me out of alcohol and drugs. If triathlon wasn't there or swimming wasn't there, maybe I was still doing drugs and alcohol.
You've seen it just right by down the speed.
A South African triathlete is awaiting surgery in hospital after being attacked by a gang of men with a saw. Mhlengi Gwala, who's 26, was on his way to a training session in the coastal town of Durban when several men dragged him into bushes.
I think but they need something from me. So then they put a chainsaw set, and then my eyes they were open wider. They need my head, or they need like my private parts, or they need everything. So I was thinking that they're killing me. They come to kill me. I tried to fight, but there was a gun point on my hand. So if there's a gun point, anything can happen. One finger, everything is shut down. I thought my kids, and then if I'm lying down, I'll die and I'll never see my kids. I jump, hop, use this left leg, because it was cutting not that bad, but this one was very bad. So I jump and then I get back to the road. So there's a belief that if we take a body parts from other people and mix it with other moves to go to the traditional healers, you get wealthy. So it can happen like that, or it can happen like this. It can be a jealousy. I forgive them, because the sooner I forgive them, the sooner I will wake up and be strong again. Those people that support me is the one that is, they like my alarm in the morning, because they wake me up to go and train so I can break so fast in the race. When I did my first run, but I was a bit emotional because I was running like a crab, so I was running like this, so a bit I even cried because I used to run like straight, so I cried, and then I said to myself, I need to give some time. The more I practice, the more I get better.
Last, my boy, keep going.
After 3 or 4 years, I'll do it. As soon as I'm fully recovered, I'll love to do it. I won't sit in the house and lock myself in the doors because of them. So I have to come back and do what I love.
It was all fair and square after round 1 of Armchair Expert. But between Daryl and Dominic, who reach out for the counter-attack in round 2, let's rejoin Celestine in Nairobi.
At the end of the first round, Daryl has 2 points, Dominic has 2 points. Time now for the second round, and we call it Convince Me. Here is how it works.
Round 2, Convince Me. You each have 15 seconds to argue for or against. 2 points are up for grabs.
Gentlemen, this week's topic is, why should we care about the Africa Cup of Nations? Daryl, you're arguing for.
Yes.
Dominic, you're arguing against. Daryl, I will start with you. Convince me in 15 seconds.
African Cup of Nations is the greatest collection of African talent. Every 2 years, we get to watch the best African players play it out for the biggest crown in African football. And of course, nationhood, we see how people are patriotic. It's a good thing.
Well, people are patriotic and it's a good thing. Let us see if, Dominic, you can argue against. Do you have any better points you feel? Your time starts now. Convince me.
African Cup of Nations, we should not care because the best players do not come. For example, yes, they don't come. Another point is it's not a good thing because it's not broadcasted worldwide.
Well, your time is up, and I will lean it towards Daryl. You get the 2 points. I love the idea that, yes, it gets to showcase African talent and a show of a nationhood. Let's see what those 2 points for Daryl have done to the scoreboard. And at the end of round 2, we have a clear leader, Daryl. There's still another round to come later in the show.
Aha! Daryl is on the front foot, but will he sustain it? Meanwhile, do you know that there's only one African country that participates in the sport of lacrosse internationally? Now, lacrosse is a little bit like ice hockey. The only difference is this time around, the ball is played in the air rather than on the floor. And Uganda is the only African country to have ever competed in the lacrosse world championships. Now, they had a disappointing performance in their second tournament in June, but what they lack in quality, they make up just fine with their bond.
I don't even want to call them a team. I think they're a family.
For God and country! Yes! We come from totally different backgrounds as individuals, but at the same time, that's what you need on a team.
We have had lacrosse here for, I would say, 10 years, but actively, I would talk about like 8 years. Active playing and having teams and clubs.
We have a young player here who's 17 years old. He has the potential to play in the next 4 to 5 world championships. That's unheard of. That's the future of our sport.
I picked lacrosse because I saw it as an interesting game and I had passion for it. Lacrosse has taught me a lot. I've made friends through lacrosse. The friends that I play with have encouraged me to go with academics.
There's nothing wrong with pushing down. We're the only country in Africa who's playing lacrosse on the international level. Now there's other countries playing, Rwanda, Kenya, South Africa, Tanzania, but they're not in that development where we are yet. And that will happen for them. And I think that's exciting, to be able to have a true African champion at some point in the future.
Spending time together with our teammates, with each other, creates that bond, okay? Sometimes it comes with pain, because sometimes we end up in fights, but it takes a lot of courage for us to come back the next weekend and still want to be playing together.
All right, let's go. Let's go, face them off. Let's go and face off. We're as good as any team in the world athletically, just pure athleticism. I'll put us up against the top 5 or 6 teams in the world just being pure athletes. Where we're lacking is just being experienced lacrosse players.
UG Lacrosse. The one dream I have with this game is I just want to see this game grow locally. And the other part is that I need to see the game growing international and starting with Africa.
I've been fortunate to coach some very good programs and have made some good success, but nothing compares to being here. This to me is the greatest coaching challenge I've ever had, because it's more than coaching. It's more about giving of yourself, and up and beyond the players that I see here every day. When I step on the field and I see all these children playing and how excited they are when you come, and I know the future of the sport's bright here.
For God and country! Yes!
Short time, my people. It's the final round of Armchair Expert, and we're heading back to Nairobi, where, as you know, there can only be one person who will rock our big yellow throne between these squares. Who will it be? Over to you, Celestine.
And our aspiring experts stand at Daryl, 4 points. Dominic, 2 points. This is the third and final round. Let's look at the rules.
Round 3, the quickfire decider. 45 seconds to push up your score. Remember, shout your name before you answer or you'll lose out.
45 seconds, gentlemen, starts now. Who won the 2017 men's Berlin Marathon?
Daryl
Kipchoge. Dominic Kipchoge.
Correct. Who are the UEFA Champions League title holders?
Dominic, Real Madrid.
Correct. Where will the UEFA Champions League final be held in 2019?
Dominic.
Daryl.
Cardiff.
Madrid.
Correct. Tour de France refers to which sport?
Daryl. Cycling.
Correct. Who is the current marathon world record holder?
Daryl. Pass.
Kipchoge.
Dennis Kimeto. Who is the all-time Champions League top scorer?
Dominic. Ronaldo.
Correct. Who was the youngest player to score a hat-trick in the EPL?
Daryl. Michael Owen.
Wrong.
Daryl. When
Yes! Yes, you actually got it right.
when winning. Nice.
You actually got it right. And Daryl, you get that point at the death. That means in this round, you have 4 points. Dominic, you have 2 points. Let's see how the scoreboard now looks. And at the end of the show, Dominic, you have 4 points. Daryl, you have 8 points, which means you are this week's BBC Sport Africa Armchair Expert. Please take your place on throne. Was that difficult?
No. Yeah, a bit, but I got there at the end.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Do join us again next week for another episode of The Armchair Expert.
Wow, not bad, Daryl. Take a bow. This week's winner. Don't forget you can get in touch with us on anything you've seen in this program via Facebook or Twitter. And if you want to catch some of these pieces again, our BBC Sport Africa website is there at your service. And if you're like me and you have a bigger sport appetite, the BBC Sport website is also, again, at your service. It's been lovely doing this with you guys, so we say a very, very big thank you. Let's do this again next week, shall we? Until then, Odabo, also known as goodbye, guys.